Hi everyone, this is Heather. Thank you so much for joining me. Today I've got a card tutorial for you and we're going to be making this sweet Easter card using products from Hello Bluebird. I'm using two different stamp sets from them, Spring Gathering and Halloween Party, and then I'm also using their gallery frame #1 die. So today I'm going to be using a mixture of cardstock and Bristol smooth paper. I've got just a regular white cardstock for the base and for some die cutting, and then for my layers I have some really pretty pink zigzag pattern paper from Muse Studio that I thought was really great for an Easter pattern, and some matching pink cardstock. And recently I've seen a lot of stampers say that they really like the Bristol Smooth for ink blending, and I have to say I've noticed too it really does make a difference. It gives it a much smoother blend, and you can also stamp and use your alcohol-based markers on it, which it also seems to blend really nicely. So I just picked this up at the local craft store. It's going to be in the artist section with the with the different paper pad. So using this gallery frame die, I'm going to be die cutting the pink cardstock, the pink and white pattern cardstock, and a piece of Bristol Smooth, each one time from the frame. So with everything die cut out, I'm just going to pull out the pieces that I need, and I'm just going to keep these others for projects at a later date. So with the pink, using the frame with all the rectangles cut out. Of the Bristol Smooth, I'm keeping the squares in the rectangle. And for the zigzag pattern, I'm going to be keeping the stitched frame. Now the next die cutting that I want to do, I forgot about my little piece of yellow in the beginning, but I am using a small piece of yellow and a piece of 110-pound white, and I'm going to die cut the hello words that come with the gallery frame dies. I'm going to die cut the yellow and the white each one time. So the reason that I cut out two of these dies is I want to layer them on top of each other just so that I have a nice thickness on my die. So I'm going to be using a glue pen, and on top of the white letters I'm just going to apply some glue over top of a scrap piece of paper. And now I'm going to take the yellow and I'm just going to carefully layer those two on top of each other. And that's what's nice about the liquid glue, is you have a little bit of wiggle room so you can make sure everything lines up. And now that I have those two pieces glued on top of each other, I'm just going to set it aside for a minute so it can dry. So now I'm ready to move on and do some ink blending. As you can see, I've just grabbed my scratch of paper that I've been working with, and I've got some peeled paint Distress Oxide ink. I'm going to take a blending brush and my long piece of white Bristol Smooth cardstock that I die cut out earlier, and I'm just going to add a little bit of a green border along the bottom just to give a look of some grass. So I've inked up about a third of my strip, and now I'm going to take the little grass stamp from the Spring Gatherings and just add a few little touches over that ink blending for a little bit more of a grassy look. Now I'm ready to move on to the blue squares. I'm using Broken China Distress Oxide, and I'm just going to add a little bit of blue to the top of all three of those squares that I die cut earlier. So I'm finished with all of my ink blending, and on each of the squares I want to stamp out a different little chick. One thing I did want to point out is that I have noticed that when I'm using Memento Black ink on the Bristol cardstock, that it takes a little while for the black ink to dry. So give it a couple of minutes to either air dry or hit it with your heat gun before you start to color so that you don't have any smearing. So I've stamped a chick in each of my squares, and I've gone ahead and stamped out my images. This bunny, the egg, and the basket are from the Spring Gathering. This bunny is from the Halloween Party set, and I wanted to turn him into an Easter bunny. So as you can see, I'm going to be cutting away the lantern and putting the little basket there to turn him into an Easter bunny. So I think that's a really great way to use a stamp that was maybe meant for a different occasion for another. So I'm going to be coloring my images with alcohol-based markers. I'm using markers from Stampin' Up, the Stampin' Blends, and I'm using light Daffodil Delight. I'm going to color in each of my chicks. Then I'm going to add a little bit of shadow with the darker Daffodil Delight on each of the chicks, and then I'll go in and just blend those two colors together. And to finish my chicks off, I'm going to use dark pumpkin pie on each of their beaks. So I've finished coloring all my little chicks in, and next I'm going to move on to my rabbits. So I'm going to start off using light Calypso Coral to color in their little scarf and neck ruffle. Then I'm also going to color in their noses, and I'm going to give them some nice rosy cheeks and also the inside of their ears. And then also with the same pink, I'm going to color in the egg top and bottom. I'm going to go back in with that yellow and just color in that stripe. So I wanted the bunnies to be two different colors. So for the bunny on the left, I'm using light crumb cake, and I'm just going to completely fill in the entire body of the bunny, avoiding all those little pink spots. Now I'm going to go in with a darker crumb cake and add just some shading and shadowing here and there. Then I'm going to go over with the lighter marker and just blend those two together. So I've added all the brown to my bunny, and then I like to kind of go back over the pink areas, again, just to kind of blend those two in together so there's not quite such a harsh line. And now I'm going to move on to my gray bunny, and I'm using light smoky slate. Again, I'm just going to color in the entire bunny. I'm not going to add any color to the lantern because I'm going to be cutting that away. So I've done the exact same thing with my gray bunny, gone over with the darker marker, blended it out with the lighter. Now I'm going to add the same brown to the basket. Add a little bit of shading on that as well. And here's my finished images colored in. So now I'm going to cut out my images, and I have the die set for the spring gatherings, but I don't have it for Halloween party. So I'm going to die cut the ones that I do have, and then just using my scissors, I'm just going to cut out my little gray bunny, leaving a little bit of white space. I'm going to cut away the lantern. So I've got all my little pieces cut out, and on the top of my basket, I'm going to take my scissors and just snip a little section of that away. So I hope you can see that. I've just cut a little bit of a notch just so that it looks more like my bunny is carrying the basket. So I'm going to put a little glue dot on the back of the basket, and I'm going to place that on my bunny. So now it looks like she's carrying the basket. I'm also going to put a glue dot on the back of the egg. And one of the really great things about the dies from the spring gatherings is the little animal's hands are kind of cut open so you can put the little accessories inside. So I'm going to slip that egg in my bunny's hands. So I'm just going to slip that on, and now she's holding the egg. So now I'm ready to begin assembling my card. I'm just going to take tape runner along the outer frame and adhere that to my card base. And on the back of the pink frame, because it's so thin, I'm going to use a glue pen to apply the glue, and then I'm just going to place that inside the other frame. So that's just going to fit right inside. And now for each of the chicks, I'm going to do the same thing, just put a little tape runner in and fit those in. They'll fit almost like puzzle pieces right inside those little openings. So I've also applied tape runner to my grassy strip. I'm going to slip that in. And then I'm going to place my bunnies, the gray one off to the right with some foam tape behind them, and my other little brown bunny to the left. Next, I'm going to take a glue dot on a tiny little white pom-pom that I got from the craft store. So I thought that would be the perfect little tail for the little gray bunny. I'm going to go back to my glue pen and apply more glue to the back of my words. And now I'm going to place the words on the top of my card. Press everything into place. And here's our sweet little Easter card. I absolutely love this frame. There's so many neat little combinations that you can do for it. It's really, really fun, and I loved being able to use a Halloween stamp for a different purpose. So take a look at your stamps and see what else that you could maybe use them for different occasions. I really hope you enjoyed this card tutorial. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and be sure to check out my channel and think about subscribing for more videos like this. And I hope you have a wonderful Easter and spring. This is Heather. Bye.